Hello and welcome to personal reflection number 5. In this video, we're going to be talking about how you're going to experience what we read about and have listened to in the second lecture, part 2, on mindfulness and flow. What you're doing this particular week is you're going to be going through a 10-minute guided meditation. And then you're going to reflect on that experience. So again, as we've been seeing in these different types of mini experiments, ultimately the structure becomes hopefully relatively standardized, where there's an activity that you do, an experience that is pretty similar to the types of activities that are done in positive psychology research studies. And then you're going to reflect on what was your personal experience about that. If you've never done any mindfulness meditation, or you've never done a body scan, that's okay. That's what this video is all about. That actually is something interesting to write about, and a lot of people will talk about that in their reflections if they are individuals who have tried to practice mindfulness or have never done it or do it all the time. Often that will become part of the self-reflective part here, right? So since mindfulness and mindfulness practices reduce stress and enhance well-being, can actually even alleviate physical aches and pains, what I really want you to do is find a comfortable place, set aside at least 10 minutes to go through the guided meditation. And then, of course, you'll need additional time to reflect and to think and to write and to edit your personal reflection. I'm not going to go through the actual body scan in and of itself. I think they do a good job actually in the auditory side. There isn't any visual stimulation here, so you can do it with just the sound off. Sound on. Video doesn't need to be on. And then once you've found a place and you've got some time, you're going to actually go through a body scan. They'll walk you through all the things that you need to think about. And for those of you that have never done any sort of mindfulness practices, I think one of the reasons I like this is that it's guided, right? So there is quite a bit of instruction about what to focus on, what to think about, what to listen to. It isn't just try and clear your mind and sit in dead silence for 10 minutes, which personally is difficult for me. So you'll come down here. Here's the link to the body scan. So you'll open up the link. You'll hear this mindfulness music that will pop up. And then...
Hello and welcome.
You'll listen to it. You can see it is a 10-minute meditation. And then, work your way through it, follow the instructions, focus your attention on the different parts of your bodies that they ask you to focus on. Of course, the instructor will walk you through this to do this without any sort of sense of judgment, or really you're not there to accomplish anything. But it is important to actually try and notice different types of areas where there's tension or there's discomfort, right? So now you've done the meditation. And again, I would say that you don't just need the 10 minutes to do that, but you'll need some time to write and to reflect. And again, to remember, I'm not looking for just stream of consciousness writing. When you're thinking about writing a reflection that's 400 to 600 words, with all of these, or these 4 different components, sometimes people say it's hard to get it to fit into 600 words. I agree. And that's why one of the tasks is to write and then to edit, right? So again, as always, you're going to do an activity first, and then you're going to reflect on different components of it. Particularly, I'm interested in your mood, so the actual sensations and emotions that you were feeling in the moment when you were going through the body scan. How did it make you feel? How did it impact your overall sort of well-being? Make sure you talk about specific examples, when I was focused on this part of my body and when I was doing this, or you can talk about how you felt coming into it or how you felt sort of going out of it. And then there's the insights and lessons that you're going to learn from the body scan. Again, depending on your level of expertise with mindfulness, You might arrive at different places, but share any sort of emotional experiences, lessons that you learned, particularly by going through this specific body scan. So again, what did you learn about yourself? What did you learn about your areas that you might be calling or carrying tension in? Any sort of lessons that you've learned. Now, a lot of times people think about our sort of toolbox of coping methods, where we can go and open up a toolbox and use a coping method in certain situations. And what I want you to think about here is, for you as an individual, doesn't matter anyone else, do you feel that a body scan is a effective coping mechanism when you're experiencing stress, right? So if you had a stressful day, now that you've gone through this body scan, do you think that that would be a good way for you to try and cope with that stress, with that sort of challenge? Obviously, I'm not looking for yes, no answers here. So what are your reasons? What is the rationale for that? Sort of, you can think of a short paragraph where you have sort of the thesis, which is, I do or do not think it would be an effective coping mechanism. This is why. And then you provide your sort of own personal experiences and your understanding of mindfulness and your own understanding of yourself as your explanation for that. And then I always think it's really important to sort of compare and contrast this sort of experiential learning component. What particular insights could you have only realized by doing this activity, right? So what was surprising to you? What felt more challenging than you expected? What was maybe more transformative or enriching of your understanding of mindfulness because you did it, right? So if you've done a lot of mindfulness, there might be new things that you learned from it. If you've never done mindfulness, you might have come in with certain expectations or perceptions, or you might have anticipated it going certain types of ways, and people were surprised, both good and bad sometimes, right? Surprised at how well it went or how little it impacted them, right? And so those sort of, again, make together the entirety of the reflection, right? And then when you have finished this, make sure you go ahead and submit it in the right place. I'll grade it using the rubric, provide you comments. And again, if you have any questions, you can reach out ahead of time. And if you're still looking for some sort of clarity after you've done it, remember, you can always resubmit another mindfulness reflection after you've read your comments and have thought about how to improve your particular reflection.